I really find the generational discussions to be very fascinating and worthwhile. Part of what I think happens with generations is, or when you start exploring the generational discussion, what happens is that part of it is that it helps you uh, tamp down some of the types of confidence that you don't really need and probably don't even want, because uh, there's a lot of thoughts you can have where you start thinking that you're the key entity in the entire universe, and then you start thinking that you should get everything that you want while you're alive. And when you think that about all the generations, and that there really are generational discussions, and one generation can affect the next, and the next, or whichever order. We'll say time is going this way, so it can kind of tamp down some of the unnecessary confidence that you might have in yourself, and it helps kind of eliminate a lot of stupid thoughts you might have. So, anyways, um, uh, talking about how a generation comes to be, if you think of this kind of like time as a big ball of wax that, time marches on. It's like this. This is the world. It just time marches on, and as it goes on, a generation happens, and sometimes a generation is defined by. I kind of think of it more so that they're defined by instances where there's a thing happens here, and a thing happens here. They're never cut and dry. It's got to do with how you're affected by your group that you kind of grew up with, or that sort of thing. So it's, if you have memory of a certain thing, like there's people who remember going through the Sputnik experience, the Sputnik moment in human history, and then if you have memories of that, then it affects you a certain kind of way, and then that makes you part of that group who remember that thing, and you make choices. If you remember that thing really well, then you make choices based on that. And we all have our things that we grew up with, technologies, events, uh, different attempts of the world to try to make sense of it all, or various levels of strife and struggle. Anyway, so time is marching on like this, and then at a certain point, a cut is made. It just, you clip a piece off, and then what happens? Basically, you have kind of a straight piece like this, and that's kind of a generation. It's roughly from around here to around here. Then that group of people is kind of bound in a way. You're bound to your experiences in a way. The things that you consider worthwhile or valuable, or things that you don't worry about, things you never have to worry about, things you always have to worry about. Each generation kind of has one of those. And I kind of look at it like this. You take this thing, this one generation, which has kind of a, these are the oldest people of the generation, these are the youngest people, and like I say, these are rough determinations. They're not cut and dry. It just doesn't work like that. But you form the thing. It gets like the rear kind of gets bent forward. The forward gets kind of bent back. Then in the middle here, there's a place where there's kind of a weld. It gets, you can sort of say it gets welded, and it has strength now. It has it kind of holds together. That's kind of what happens with a generation, if you ask me. Then once you have this formed, then you hook it onto the end, and there's a long chain of them. Each one kind of has its own shape. See, look, this one I did a lot better. This one is kind of nice looking. This one's not bad. This one's kind of wobbly and doesn't look quite as nice. This one's a little bit different shaped, you know, fairly neat, but certainly different shaped than this one. So all the generations have their own characteristics also.